Before we begin today's webinar, here's a quick word from our legal department.
Before we get into the technical aspects of MLS Advantage, a lot of folks are sitting there wondering, what exactly is MLS Advantage? Well, first let's talk about what it's not. MLS Advantage is not a multiple listing service. You do not have an ability to enter listings, and there is no associated governance that goes along with this system. In the event that you identify an MLS rule violation within MLS Advantage, you need to contact the home MLS to file the complaint. Because MLS Advantage is really just a cooperative database. It's an agreement among a large number of local boards in the state of Florida who have decided to share their listings as well as provide an offer of compensation to other brokers in other parts of the state. Sometimes it will be a broker right next door to your jurisdiction. Sometimes it may be somebody completely across the state. There are some things that you need to remember before using MLS Advantage as a regular tool. First, MLS Advantage does not have all the bells and whistles that a traditional MLS will have. So if you're looking for a tool that's not located there, understand that that's not what this is intended for use. The other thing you need to remember is that you still have an obligation to be competent in whatever real estate you plan on selling. So if you are working with a buyer and you live in an urban setting in a big city, and the buyer says, I want to purchase a farm completely across the state, well then MLS Advantage is a fantastic tool for you because you can actually access the listings of all farmlands in the jurisdictions that participate in MLS Advantage. You're going to be able to share that information with your buyers and let the buyers identify specific kinds of properties that work for them. But here's where you have to ask yourself a question. Are you qualified to sell farmland? If the majority of your business is inner city activity where you sell condos and high-rises and maybe the occasional residential real estate house, then you might not be the right person to sell a farm. In that case, what you might want to use MLS Advantage for is to refer the business elsewhere, because we don't want to run into an ethics complaint where you inadvertently attempt to sell a kind of real estate that you don't have the appropriate background for. Now, in the event that you're referring business out, understand that the offer of compensation in MLS Advantage is not intended for you. You're still going to have to establish a referral agreement with whomever you are referring the property to. Once that's done, you will then send the buyer toward the place where the property is located, and they will work with a broker in that jurisdiction that you have referred them to. Now, in other matters, you may identify a buyer who's looking for the exact kind of real estate that you are highly qualified to sell. They also might be looking for a property in an area that you know fairly well and you believe you can provide full services to this buyer. With regard to that, you will identify listings in MLS Advantage from that appropriate jurisdiction. This is where the offer of compensation will apply to you. If you are the procuring cause of the sale, then you will be entitled to the offer of compensation that is contained in MLS Advantage, because that's the MLS Advantage agreement that your local board has entered into with another local board where the property is located. Now, keep in mind, this does not mean that you will identify a listing and just send a buyer up there and say, hey, when they're ready, I'll send a contract, because that could be a problem. You are still required to actually do all of the things that you would do in your jurisdiction to sell a home. Keep in mind, procuring cause is not necessarily just writing the contract. It's also not necessarily showing the property one time. It is the entire events and circumstances of the entire transaction. So you need to make sure that you don't inadvertently lose a commission because you decided you were going to send your buyer up and let the other broker do all the work. So it's just a note of caution to remember that the rules do not change with regard to earning compensation. If you want to earn a commission, you need to do all of the things you would do in a transaction in your jurisdiction. Well, then the question is presented, what happens if there is a dispute? What if I go to my neighboring jurisdiction where I'm not a member of their multiple listing service, but they participate in MLS Advantage and my board participates in MLS Advantage? I bring a buyer, I believe I am the procuring cause of this sale, but the listing broker fails to pay me. What is my recourse? Well, your recourse is the same as if you had a dispute with your local board. You need to contact your local association of realtors and pursue arbitration. There is what's called inter-board arbitration, where your local board and the board where the other broker is located will work cooperatively to facilitate an arbitration to resolve the dispute. As most of you know, we highly recommend preliminary mediation before you actually go to a full-blown arbitration, because sometimes that is the best way to resolve a commission dispute. Remember, commission disputes a lot of times the result of a misunderstanding between the brokers rather than an actual problem within the transaction. So, quick summary. MLS Advantage is a statewide cooperative database that contains all of the listings of all of the MLSs who participate in this program. There are some MLSs that do not participate in MLS Advantage. So if the listing does not appear in MLS Advantage, do not presume that there is offer of compensation to you. In the event that there's ever a question, contact the listing broker before showing the property and establish what the compensation agreement is between the two of you. 2. If you are just simply looking for information for a buyer who then plans to go up and do an independent real estate search, refer the buyer first. Do not anticipate that you're going to be able to collect the fee offered in MLS Advantage simply by referring a buyer up and then sending a contract. It's better to collect a referral fee than to have somebody claim you're not the procuring cause because you did not complete the necessary work to be the procuring cause than to receive nothing in an arbitration. Finally, in the event that you are familiar with the market, you are able to go ahead and participate completely in that real estate transaction, then the offer of compensation in MLS Advantage extends to you. In the event that there's a dispute, you would contact your local board to facilitate an arbitration. Thank you.
Okay. With that being said, I want to thank you all for attending today's MLS Advantage webinar. We're super excited about the new release of MLS Advantage. Because of the sheer number of people attending today's webinar, we're going to have all phones and microphones muted. However, if you have any questions, up in the top right hand or left hand side of your screen, you should see a toolbar. There you can type in a question, and one of our colleagues should be able to answer that question for you at any time throughout the webinar. So don't hesitate to ask if you have questions. Okay, how can you access MLS Advantage? Well, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. One would be through the Florida Realtors main website, which is www.floridarealtors.org. Right on the home screen, you'll see a link that says New MLS Advantage. Click on that, log in, and that will allow you to access it from there. You can also access it directly from mlsadvantage.floridarealtors.org. Now, your FAR ID and password will work to allow you to log into MLS Advantage, but you must be part of the participating board to be able to get that access. If you're not sure, you can contact the Tech Helpline and we'll be happy to help you out with that. Speaking of the Tech Helpline, right on the main screen of the login, you'll see the Tech Helpline phone number, the chat link, and the email. So if you have any questions, you can always call, chat, or email with us. Okay. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and log in and we'll get started. Okay, now one of the first places I want to take you to so that you can update your information is the account settings up in the top right hand corner. You'll see account. If you click on that, that will allow you to upload a photo of yourself. You can update your email address. You can update your personal phone and your cell phone. If you're the broker of the office, you can upload the company logo. You can change the email address, office phone, and office fax. And don't forget to hit Save Changes. You can also set up email defaults. So when generating your reports, you can actually have this pre-populated information to send out so you don't have to type it each and every time you send an email out. Simply fill in the default subject, default message, if you would like a default no match message, and an email signature. Well, remember with the email signature, there's no ability to attach a logo or a picture. It's strictly text. So just type in your email signature and click Save Changes. And all that information will pre-populate for you when you fill out your reports or when you email out your reports. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the Search tab. And this brings us up to the Field Search page. Okay, and if you'll notice across the top here, we have several tabs. We have our map search, which has recently been released, so you guys will find that very awesome feature. You also have the ability to search by hot sheet, and you also have the place to locate all of your saved searches. Okay, now I'm sure some of you are pretty familiar with searching through MLSs and things like that, but we're going to go ahead and go through each screen and probably each field and explain them, and then that way you'll have a good understanding of how MLS Advantage works by the time we're done with the webinar. Okay, first location is MLS listing ID. If you already have the listing ID, you can simply place it in that box. You can actually put multiple listing IDs in there separated by a comma and click search, and that will try to go out and locate the property for you and return your results. If you have a specific piece of property in mind and would like to do a radius search in that area, you simply can type in the address here, put in your zip code and the distance, which you can go from 1/4 mile up to 10 miles. And then of course you probably want to put in some criteria, such as your prices. Here you can click your drop downs here and choose your minimum price. You can choose your maximum price, or you can actually type in a price. So if it's not specifically to the 0, you can type in like 243, 247, so on and so forth. You can also choose your max and minimum bedrooms, minimum maximum bathrooms, minimum maximum living square footage, and minimum maximum lot square footage. You can choose property types. Okay, if you'll notice, it starts out with single family, but if you click in the box here, it'll bring down a drop down and you'll have other choices that you can choose. Now you can choose multiple choices. All you got to do is simply click on what you're looking for, and it will automatically put them in the box. And you can easily remove them by clicking on the X, and that will remove them from your property type. Okay. You can also put in your property status. You click on the box and you'll have options there. You can look at your pendings, you can look at your withdrawals, solds, expireds, what have you. Just simply choose the ones that you want. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove those. You also have the ability to search by business type. If you click the drop down here, you'll see there's some different business types in here to choose from. Just choose the one that you're looking for. Okay. And some of you may have a tab that says more. Well, if you click on that tab, it's going to bring up some more criteria for you. In here you can search by house number, street direction, and street name. You can go by street type and owner name. You can actually search by private and public remarks. You can search by legal description, community, zoning. You can search by sold dates. You can search by year built, acreages, lots, blocks, and units. And we've gone even a step further than that. We've actually put in here features to include in your listings. Okay, if you click on the add features, it's going to bring up a pop-up window, and inside there is going to be over 1,000 different criteria you can use for searching. Simply choose the selection here, click the drop down, and it'll give you a list of things within those drop down menus to choose from. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. You also will get the same features for excluded from a listing. So if there's features you do not want to see in a listing, you can simply come in here and check them off. And you can add multiple criteria in there. And then you have the features possibly in a listing. So if there's something that might possibly be in a listing, you don't want to exclude that, go ahead and put that in your possibly in a listing. You can also exclude listings from an MLS. If you click this drop down here, you'll see there's multiple MLSs in here. If there's a specific one that you do not want to search from, you just simply select it and it will not bring back any results from that particular MLS. Now remember, when searching in MLSs, less is more. Start with the least amount of information and then filter your way down to your specifics. Okay. Quickly, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put in a customer, create a save search, and then attach that save search for auto prospecting to your client. Okay, I'm going to click on the Customer tab up here at the top, and then I'm going to click on the Add New Customer button. Now there is some criteria in here that you need to fill out to be able to save it. Okay, I'm just going to add a couple of things in here. Alright, the first name, last name, and email address does count. You got to have that. Okay, and you can also put in here language preferred. You can put the best time to contact them in there, whether it be morning, afternoon, or evening. When is their planned activity to buy, sell, or maybe both? Or when do they plan or buy to sell? Within a month, 3 months, not defined. And you can also add additional information about that client if there's something specific about them. And of course, don't forget to click Save. And now that will save your client in there. Now you can add as many customers as you would like. You can always come back in and edit them if something to change, like phone numbers or email addresses, or maybe the time frame they plan to buy. And then of course you can always remove them by clicking Delete, and that will take them out of there. You can also sort your clients by last name from A to Z, or last name Z to A, first name A to Z, first name Z to A, email A to Z, and email Z to A. You can also do pages per pages from 10 up to 50. Okay, so that's putting in your customers. Now, we're going to go ahead and go back to our search screen. I'm going to click on Search up here on the left. And I'm going to go ahead and add some criteria for our customer. Our customer's interested in a couple different counties here, so we're going to go ahead and start typing in a couple counties here. All I have to do is click in the field and start typing, and it will recognize what I'm trying to type there and bring it up automatically so I can choose it. Okay, I'll start typing, and there's another one. Okay, and here I could put in the city that they may specifically be looking for. Okay, and then property types they're looking for. We're going to stick with single family home. We're going to look at active properties, we'll say pending properties, and maybe even withdrawn properties. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put a minimum price of 0 and a max price of $250. Alright, we're going to look at a max of 3 bedrooms and a max of 2 bath. Okay, now I'm going to keep it simple at the very moment. I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't want to omit a lot of the listings. Now, of course, with the least amount of options here, I'm going to get a large result back. Okay, now of course I want to save this search for Jim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type Jim's name up here in the search name box. Okay, now you can call it whatever you'd like, just give it some kind of name, and I'm going to click Save and Search. Okay, so now it's going to go out and try to find properties that meet that criteria. And up here in the top left hand side you'll see the amount of properties it has found. 154 properties that met that criteria. Okay, now once you get your results, you're going to get a list of results. You're going to get up to, by default, 10 per page. Of course you can sort these listings. Okay, if you click the drop down here, you have a couple of options to choose from for sorting. You can add from 10 up to 50 per page. Okay, once you get your list back here, you're going to get a brief synopsis of the property. You'll get a photo. You'll get a little brief synopsis of the property description. Over here on the right, you'll get the price, and it'll tell you the status of that property. Here you can add it to your report real quickly. Just click on Add to Report, and you can view the details of the property. Okay, if you click on the picture here, that'll bring up the picture, and if they have multiple photos, you can scroll through the photos. If you want some more detail about the property, simply click on the View Details button. Okay, and this is going to bring up all kinds of information about your property. Here you're going to have your public remarks. You'll also have your features, your dimensions, and your property information. Okay, if you want some more detailed information, you have listing details. If you click on the listing detail tab, this will pull up any private remarks if there are any showing instructions if it has any showing instructions, also your financial information such as your HOA fees and your maintenance and taxes, and it'll also give you the listing agent's information so that you may contact them if you need to. We also have the Map and Directions tab. If you click on the Map and Directions tab, this will pinpoint the property on a map. Okay, so you'll know exactly where the location of that property is. And down at the bottom of the map, you'll see MLS driving directions. Okay, those will tell you exactly where to get to the property. And you can even get Google driving directions. If you got a starting address, simply put that in. Okay, and then click Get Directions. And it'll go out and get those driving directions for you. Over here on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see those driving directions. You can print this out. If your client's standing there in front of you, you can print it out and hand it to them. Or you can email it to them. And you can email the directions and the map directly to them for that piece of property. And we're also looking in the future to be able to text the map and directions directly to a phone. But that may be down the road a little bit. You can also create a report right here from this particular property details. Just click on the Create Report option. If it has a virtual tour, you can click on that virtual tour link and it'll bring up the property's virtual tour. And if you want to write a contract on this particular property, you can click Write a Contract, and this will bring all the property information into Form Simplicity. It'll pull it into the content field, and then you'll be able to create a transaction or add it to an existing transaction from one click of a mouse. So that's a nice advantage there. Okay, I'm going to click back to Results. Okay, and that'll bring back up the results that I had. And now I can add some of these properties individually to my report. Let's say I want to add this particular property to my report. So I'm going to click to Add Report. And I'm going to scroll down and maybe click on a couple of these other ones. Okay. Just to give you an idea. Okay. You can always unselect them by clicking the Remove from Report. Or if you want to send them all the properties on a page, you can click Add All to Report. And that'll add everything on the page into your report queue. Now, you can only do up to, I think, 20 or 25 listings to a report. So if you're doing the 50 per page, they're not all going to fit into your report. You'll have to break it up into 2 different reports. If you notice over here on the right-hand side, it'll show you the number of listings you have in your report queue. So you'll know where you're running into, how many you have in there. Now, if you want to go ahead and write your report and send it to your client or print it out, whether they're standing there, if you need to email it to them, simply click on the report queue, and this will show you all the properties that you have in your report queue. Now you can remove individual listings by clicking on the Remove from Report, or you can remove all from the report, and that'll remove all the listings from your report. Now you can create your report by clicking on Create Report. Now if you'll notice, you have a couple of tabs under your reports. You have your customer reports and your licensee report. Under your customer reports, you'll notice there are several different types of reports that you can run. You have your customer summary report, which includes an image and the basic property information. You have your customer detail reports with a photo. That includes an image, basic property information, description, room dimensions, and all available images. Or you can do the customer detail report with photos and a map. This will include the image, property information, descriptions, all available images, and the map of the property. You can do a customer detail report that will do all the information plus the financial information. And you can do a detail report with a map. Now we're also looking to possibly do a customization where you can pick and choose what type of report you would like to send. Of course, that's in the process right now. We're not quite have it finished, but as you can see, you have a plethora of different reports you can choose from. Just so you can look at it, here's what it will look like. I'm going to go ahead and click on View Print Report. So if your client is standing there waiting for you in front of you, you can do this and print it out for them. If you're emailing the report, it will generate a PDF attachment and send it to your client. They will receive it as a PDF and they will be able to open it, print it, what have you. Okay. Please give it a moment to launch. It does take a few moments to build up all that information and photos. Okay, so this is the customer detail report with photos. This would have your information at the top here, of course, with your photo if you added one. Your office's information with their logo if they've added one. And of course, here's property one's information. And I'm going to scroll down here. You see you got your public remarks and your features, your room information, your property and financial information, and also the photos that go along with that particular property. Now, remember, this is a PDF, so you cannot expand these images. However, you can make the screen bigger to look at them, but you can't click on the individual pictures and make them bigger. Okay, so that's what the report looks like. Okay, and then of course you can always email the report to your client as well. Your licensee report's basically the same. It's going to give a little bit more information than you probably want to send to your client. Such as the agent's information, possibly their fees and things like that. Things you probably don't want to send to them. Okay? But FYI, those are there for your usage. Now, all of your reports are going to be kept under the Report tab. So if I click on Reports, there are the reports that we had just created. Okay? Now I can remove all these reports. And it's going to ask me, are you sure? And I can start a new search and create a report right from the report screen. If I click on Start a New Search, it's going to take me to the Field Search tab. Okay? And then, of course, I would add my criteria and things like that. Now, you can also search by map. I know this is a really nice feature that some people really enjoy, and we just recently released this option. So if you click on the Map Search tab here, this is going to bring up the good old state of Florida here. And up here you can use the circle or rectangle to search for your property. Okay. You can use the property type to choose what property type you're looking for. You can put in your property statuses. And you'll also see a More tab. If you click on that, this will give you an option to put in price and bedroom and bath. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we're going to do single family property type. Property status, we'll do maybe some expired ones and maybe some pending ones. We're going to put a maximum price in here of $250,000 and we'll do 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Okay. Now we want to save these for Jim, so I'm going to give it a name, call it Jim's Searches 2. Okay. Now I can zoom down on the map. I'm going to go ahead and drag the map over here a little bit. Now I can zoom in on the map to where the location that I want to search. Okay, you can move your map around here to where you get the located desired position. And then I'm going to choose between circle or rectangle. Okay, I'm going to click on the circle. And then I'm going to left click and hold it down and then drag it out so that it creates a circle. Now it has a radius there. I can move my circle around. If I left click the center point of the circle, I can drag it around the screen as you can see. Okay, and place it in the location I want. I can also make it larger by clicking on the circle on the outside and dragging it out. Or I can drag it inward and make it smaller. Okay. Once you've positioned the radius circle or the rectangle, then you simply click on Search, and with whatever criteria you put in there, it's going to go out and look on the map and bring back your results. Okay. So if you'll notice within that circle, there's quite a few different push pins, and you also see some blue circles with numbers in them. What those blue circles represent are clusters of listings in that particular area. If you would like to view them, simply zoom in on the map and more push pins will become available to you. Okay? And if you'll notice too, the push pins are color coded. We will have a legend coming soon. You'll be able to see the legend in the bottom right hand corner. It'll tell you what the differences are in the colors. Green is active. I do believe the black are expired, and the orange are pending. Okay, so if I want to look at a detail of a property, I simply click on the push pin and it's going to bring up a short, brief description of the property. Tell me what type of sale it is, how many bedrooms and baths, square footage, price, what community it is, what MLS it's coming from, and the listing ID. Now, of course, I can click Add to Report and add this property to my report. Or I can click on View Details and get more of a detailed description of the property. Okay. Now, let's say suppose you don't want to look at a bunch of push pins on a map, but you want to look at a list of all of those properties. If you scroll up to the top of the map here, you'll see a tab that says List Results. If you click on that, what it will do is it'll list all those properties that it found in one easy to view list. And of course, you can always sort it too. We want to sort it by maybe low to high. This will go out and pull up the lowest one. Okay. And then of course from here you can click on the pictures and scroll through the pictures. And of course you can click on the View Details and get more information about the property. And here, this is a pending property, so we may be able to go look at our listing details. Alright, and it tells you down here what the private remarks of this particular property are, so that you know. And of course here you can send it to your reports, or you can write a contract on it from here, or you can go back to your results. Now, one thing really nice too is if you go back to your map results, of course it'll keep where you had it, where you displayed it on the map. But one thing I really like about this is the ability to replace this circle anywhere I want. So if I left click and move it over here, what it will do is it will check all of the properties in that circle there and give me a different set of results. Okay. And I can even change my criteria on the fly here too. So let's say maybe the price is a little too high. I can always drop the price down and click on search, and it will re-look at all that information and bring up a different set of results depending on the criteria that I put in. Okay, so that's the ability to search by map. It's a really cool and neat feature. Alright, I'm going to go back to my search tab here at the top. Alright, I wanted to show you the hot sheet search. If you click on your hot sheet search tab, it's a little bit of a mouthful to say. You just simply put in your city or cities, zip code, your property type, your property statuses, and of course your dates and price range. And then you have the ability to include new listings, price changes, or status changes. And that will bring up your hot sheet results. And once you bring up your hot sheets results, let's say, let me go ahead and put in just a zip code. Whoops. One thing that's very important is that you actually select the result. Okay, and we'll say from 200,000 to 250,000. Alright, we're going to leave all those statuses changed there, and I'm going to click on search. Okay. Now, under the results, here's my hot sheet reason down here at the bottom. Status change. Previous status was pending. It is now active. Okay, so that's how you can look and see what your hot sheet reasons are, or what the differences was. Like the second one's a new listing. Okay, I'm sure you're all familiar with those hot sheet searches. Okay, I'm going to click back on searches. Okay, now you remember when we started out here, we put a client in, we put Jim Brown in as our client, and we also did a couple of saved searches for Jim. So now I can go locate those saved searches by clicking on the Save Search tab. Alright, now here's the one that we originally created for Jim, Jim's searches. All right. Now let's say I want to set up auto prospecting, or basically auto emails that will send Jim searches based on his criteria. To set up the auto emails, just simply click on Set Up Auto Email. All right. Now you can't change the name here, but it knows what search results you have. And over here, if you already have your customer, you can click the drop down and select your customer. If you don't have one in there, you can simply click on New Customer and then fill in the blanks, save it, and then you can attach them that way. You must enable the setting in order for the emails to be sent. If you don't check that box, they will not get sent. You have the ability to CC someone. You have the ability to BCC someone. And if you'll notice your default, if you had put in your default, your email defaults, they will automatically be shown in those boxes. You can always modify them. You can always remove or add to. You can include your email signature that you created in your default emails. You can send yourself a copy. Up here, you're going to choose the type of report you're going to send to your client. Okay? You click that drop down, you're going to choose one of your customer reports. And how often are you going to send the emails out? Do you want them to go daily, weekly, or monthly? A lot of it's going to be dependent on your client's needs. You can also set an expiration for these emails. You can go from 1 month all the way up to 6 months. Once again, depending on your client's needs. You can also include price changes. So if a property was emailed to your client and then the price changes on that property, it will be emailed to them again. And you can also choose to set up a no match listing. If none of the criteria finds any new matches, you can set it up to send this no match message to them. Okay? Once you've chosen what you're going to choose, simply click Save, and then that will set up the auto emails for your client. Okay, it's very simple, very easy to use. And you, at any time, you can come back and change the criteria for Jim. If Jim decided that he wants to change maybe the location, maybe the price, what have you, you can always come back in here and click on Edit Search to your saved search and change the criteria. Maybe they no longer want to look in Orange County. Okay, they just simply want to look in there, and they simply just want active properties. Okay, so we can take out, modify this information, and then click Save and Search. Alright, now that should give him a different set of properties. Okay, so now those are part of that auto email. So if there's any of those changes, will automatically be emailed to your client, and you don't have to worry about setting up any of that. If for some reason they want this information right away, you can simply click Add to All Report, go into your report queue, create your report, and then email the report to them right away. Okay, so that way they don't have to wait. One thing nice, I want to quickly go back into your saved searches here. Click on the Save Search tab. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, wrong location. You go to your customer. Nope, I was right. Sorry. Go to your Save Search tab. And edit your search here. Nope. I'm sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. Anyways, My Listings tab. If you click on My Listings here, you will see any of your listings that you have put in your MLS. So therefore, you can add these to your reports. You can send emails out about your own listings, what have you. Okay. And also feedback, because MLS Advantage is built by the feedback that we receive. We want to continue to receive that feedback. So if we can make it better, the better we can make it, the better for everybody. Simply click on the feedback tab here, fill in your message there, choose a topic, and then click send. And I promise you someone will read your feedback and respond to it. We also have a really great help section in here. If you click on the help tab, this will pull up the search help, your report help, customer help, listing help, account help, and you also have the tech helpline phone number, the ability to chat or email with them. All right, down here is all of your search help with your frequently asked questions and answers. And we also do some training. If you click on the training tab here, you'll see a list of webinars that we have scheduled. So if maybe you want to go through this again, or maybe if you know people in your office that would benefit from watching this webinar, they can register for their own webinar and simply come in here and choose the date and time, register for training, and then just attend the day that they chose. Okay. All right, well, that's all I have to show you. That's MLS Advantage. We really hope that you enjoy this new product and get out there and find some properties to sell. All right, thank you for attending and have a great day.